It was dark, devastating, and deeply human. 21 Grams wasn't just a movie. It was an emotional earthquake that left audiences breathless. Released in 2003, this haunting Alejandro González Iñárritu masterpiece explored life, death, guilt, and redemption, all through a nonlinear story that kept viewers guessing until the end. It wasn't your typical Hollywood drama. It was raw, messy, and painfully real, powered by a cast that delivered some of the most intense performances of their careers. Sean Penn, Naomi Watts, Benicio Del Toro, each one gave everything. The film earned 2 Oscar nominations, endless critical praise, and a reputation as one of the most emotionally draining movies ever made. But what happened to the faces behind the pain? 2 decades later, how have they evolved in fame, fortune, and life itself? Let's dive into 21 Grams, 2003, then versus now, 2025. Let's start with Sean Penn, who played Paul Rivers, a dying man whose heart transplant connects him to strangers in ways that change all their lives. In 2003, Penn was already Hollywood royalty, the bad boy turned serious actor. Known for Mystic River, Dead Man Walking, and a string of volatile relationships, he was both adored and feared by the media. 21 Grams solidified his reputation as one of the most fearless performers of his generation. Penn's intensity wasn't just acting, it was who he was. On set, insiders whispered about his obsessive preparation, his explosive emotions, and his total commitment to the role. It paid off. He won an Oscar that same year for Mystic River and cemented his place in Hollywood's pantheon. But the years after weren't always smooth. His marriages to Madonna and Robin Wright ended in tabloid chaos, and his political activism, from interviews with dictators to rescue missions in Haiti, made him both admired and controversial. Fast forward to 2025, and Penn remains unpredictable. He's directed films like Into the Wild, starred in political dramas, and continues humanitarian work. Recently, his documentaries about Ukraine and global conflict reignited his relevance. The rebel actor grew into a complicated icon, still intense, still divisive, and still impossible to ignore. Now, Naomi Watts, the heart and soul of 21 Grams. In 2003, Naomi was the actress everyone was talking about. After her breakout in Mulholland Drive, she became Hollywood's new obsession, beautiful, mysterious, and unbelievably talented. Her role as Christina Peck, a grieving mother consumed by tragedy, was a tour de force. It earned her an Oscar nomination and cemented her status as one of the best dramatic actresses of her generation. Off-screen, she became known for her understated elegance, avoiding scandal, staying grounded, and focusing on her craft. She dated actor Liev Schreiber for years, raising 2 sons together before quietly separating in 2016. Over the years, Naomi shifted seamlessly between blockbusters and prestige projects, from King Kong and The Impossible to acclaimed TV series like Gypsy, The Watcher, and Feud, Capote versus the Swans. By 2025, she's still as radiant and respected as ever, recently married to actor Billy Crudup, balancing her family, career, and skincare brand Onda Beauty. The woman who once played grief personified now embodies grace under pressure, a Hollywood survivor with quiet power. Then there's Benicio Del Toro, the soul-tormented Jack Jordan, a born-again ex-con whose faith is tested after tragedy. In 2003, Del Toro was already known as the brooding Hollywood enigma, the man with the deep voice, mysterious eyes, and an aura of danger. He'd won an Oscar for Traffic just 2 years before, and 21 Grams only deepened his legend. Del Toro didn't just act, he transformed. Critics said he could break your heart with a single look. And off-screen, he was Hollywood's quiet mystery. Little was known about his personal life, except for one headline-grabbing revelation in 2011 when it was confirmed he'd fathered a child with Rod Stewart's daughter, Kimberly Stewart. Over the years, he stayed unpredictable, appearing in Sicario, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Star Wars: The Last Jedi, balancing gritty dramas with blockbuster thrills. By 2025, Del Toro remains a powerhouse, selective with roles, elusive in interviews, and still considered one of cinema's most captivating presences. Some call him Hollywood's last true mystery, a man who lets his silence do the talking. Next, Charlotte Gainsbourg, who played Mary Rivers, Paul's estranged wife, torn between duty and heartbreak. The daughter of French icons Serge Gainsbourg and Jane Burton, Charlotte brought European elegance and emotional rawness to the film. While 21 Grams introduced her to many U.S. audiences, she was already a superstar in Europe as both an actress and a singer. After the film, she continued to push artistic boundaries, starring in Lars von Trier's Antichrist, Melancholia, and Nymphomaniac. Each role was darker, bolder, and more controversial than the last. By 2025, she remains an indie legend, still acting, still singing, and still defying Hollywood's rules. Dividing her time between Paris and New York, Charlotte embodies everything French cinema stands for: style, substance, and the courage to be unapologetically herself. Now, let's not forget Melissa Leo, who played Marianne Jordan, Jack's devout and conflicted wife. Back then, Melissa was a seasoned character actress quietly climbing Hollywood's ranks. But after 21 Grams, her career exploded. She went on to win an Oscar for The Fighter and became a favorite in both indie and television circles. Her off-screen reputation? Fearless, outspoken, sometimes divisive, but in an industry that often sidelines women after 40, Melissa Leo built a second act most actors can only dream of. By 2025, she's still working steadily in streaming dramas, stage productions, and political thrillers. The face of resilience, she's proof that talent doesn't fade, it evolves. And, of course, there's Alejandro González Iñárritu, the man who turned despair into art. Before 21 Grams, he was already known for Amores Perros, but this film made Hollywood take notice. It was the second part of his Death trilogy, a raw, nonlinear exploration of fate that paved the way for masterpieces like Babel and Birdman. Iñárritu went on to win back-to-back Oscars for Birdman and The Revenant, cementing his status as one of the greatest directors of his generation. By 2025, he's still chasing innovation, experimenting with VR storytelling and mentoring young Latin American filmmakers. The man who once shattered hearts on screen is now shaping the next generation of storytellers. 2 decades later, 21 Grams remains a gut punch of a film, one that dared to ask, what does life weigh? It wasn't about heroes or villains, it was about people. Broken, desperate, and searching for meaning. Sean Penn, the Hollywood rebel who turned activism into art, Naomi Watts, the quiet powerhouse who found balance between pain and grace, Benicio Del Toro, the mystery man who kept his soul in the shadows, Charlotte Gainsbourg, the fearless artist who turned discomfort into beauty, Melissa Leo, the fighter who proved it's never too late to rise, and Iñárritu, the visionary who made tragedy cinematic poetry. Together, they didn't just make a movie, they made a mirror, one that still reflects the fragility of life and the resilience of the human heart. Every performance, every heartbreak, every silence in 21 Grams left a scar that time could never heal. But it also gave us one of cinema's most powerful lessons. Pain can transform, loss can rebuild, and even the darkest stories can leave behind light. Share your thoughts in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell for more Hollywood then and now stories, because in movies, just like in life, every soul carries its own weight.